This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you already know this, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is our Freeform Friday show on this lovely June the 26th of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. No, seriously, in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio.
Oh, yes, hanging out with the peeps from Radio Big as we get to do all the fun stuff that we get to do. Definitely no doubt about that, as everything that's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on. So let's start talking right away. What is going on here today? Well, it's Freeform Friday. So what does that mean to us? That means that we are going to talk about all of the stuff that we did not get to talk about earlier in the week, because that's kind of how it goes. We get a plethora of information of things that needs to be discussed inside of here. So that's how we handle it. We talk about a little bit of this, a little bit about that, and a little bit of everything. That way we can go down the rabbit hole. So if you're good with this, I am definitely good with this. Let's start talking right away. If you want to interact with the show, it's really easy to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options that you get. I get a little prompter here on the screen, and then we get moving. And I know when it comes to Friday, our show gets a little bit different compared to most. So let's just make sure that we understand on how important Friday is.
It's Friday!
Yeah, that's all our Friday math we get to do today. Yeah, some people get so excited about it being Friday. So it's Friday for sure. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do all of our feature story stuff. But we'll have our weekend review as well, so don't worry about that. So if you're good with this, I am definitely good with it for us to do a little weekend review action. Because, man, I have to tell you, it's not an easy seg to put together, but it's definitely an interesting seg to put together in regards of everything that is going on. So if you're good with this, I am definitely good with it. We can do the weekend review right now.
Taylor Swift fans have spent months looking for wedding Easter eggs, and now a new clue is sparking even more speculation. Some fans seem to think the pop star and fiancé Travis Kelce will tie the knot at Madison Square Garden, where there was this huge win. They think it's going to happen next week. CNN has confirmed that a permit application has actually been filed to hold a large-scale event near the arena over the July 4th weekend. Multiple law enforcement sources telling CNN the application is tied to a company known to plan weddings.
The breaking news overnight, it's from Venezuela. 2 powerful earthquakes back-to-back killing dozens of people. This thing is no joke. You can see people panicking, and who wouldn't as they rushed into the streets of Caracas with buildings collapsing all around them. Yikes. This morning, there is a desperate search for survivors, and desperate is a word. At least 160 people are dead.
Legendary music mogul Clive Davis has died at the age of 94.
There are new tornado watches up across multiple states at this hour. Flood watches across the Midwest, heavy rain, damaging winds, large hail from Texas all the way up to the Northeast. Then the extreme heat moving into the Midwest and then the East. It's expected to last for days.
Attorneys for Luigi Mangione and federal prosecutors had been in talks for a possible plea deal in which Mangione would admit to killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. It's not clear how far they got, but we're told the negotiations have now stopped.
Today, U.S. officials tell ABC News Iran attacked a cargo ship attempting to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has imposed new conditions forbidding ships from traveling outside of its approved shipping lanes.
Wildfires erupting in the west. Time-lapse video shows thick plumes of smoke rising over southwest Utah.
The FAA wants to use AI to reduce flight delays and manage air traffic. Meanwhile, Southwest says they're going to keep guiding their planes by having the pilot shout Marco and then shouting back Polo.
Okay, so there you go. That's the weekend review of the things that are going on or that have happened so far this week. So that's what we're up to at this particular moment in time. You want to know something fun? You never know what's going to happen before the end of the show occurs. So there you go. Definitely some things to give some consideration to as we are talking. So there you go. Oh, yeah, I was supposed to play this apparently.
Let your ears feast to the flavor of the acoustic sound.
Today we have something very special.
Are you on the radio?
All I have to do is speak into this microphone and play music.
What's on your mind today?
Ooh, look at me. I'm listening to a dumb nonsense radio show.
Let's get this thing started.
Okay, so there you go. Dumb nonsense radio show definitely going on as we are talking. So if you're good with this, I am definitely good with this. I can get my friends from Feature Story News ready to go. This way we can start talking right away about everything that is going on. So let's do that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Laura Westbrook. At least 235 people have been killed and more than 1,500 injured after twin earthquakes struck Venezuela. Rescuers are searching through rubble in a rush to save lives. Catherine Ellis on the Colombian border says the financial burden of rebuilding will compound the hardship already facing ordinary Venezuelans.
We don't know, we can see the extent of the damage, but we really don't know what that is yet, what that's actually going to cost. But apart from actually rebuilding the country, it's like people's lives as well. People in Venezuela, people worry about putting food on the table, like what they're going to eat. And hospitals, like I was thinking today, the hospitals will be overwhelmed. Normally when people from Venezuela, they go to hospital, they have to pay for not only the medicine, but even the gloves that the doctors and nurses wear or the alcohol that they use. They have to use every last kind of bit of their money just on these resources. So it's a really worrying situation for all of them.
The United States is deploying search and rescue teams to Venezuela. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed the deployment after speaking directly with Venezuela's acting president, saying collapsed buildings are the most immediate concern and that military assets will be used to get aid in because Caracas airport had been badly damaged. Alistair D'Souza reports from Washington.
Very quickly, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, for example, got on a phone call with Venezuela's
interim President Delcy Rodriguez. He says that search and rescue teams are being sent from the U.S., including medical resources. Rubio says that the U.S. is also providing aerial imagery to help to get to survivors, especially now within this crucial 48 to 72-hour period. Rubio also saying that he expects a surge of private donations to come along. He says that the State Department will provide logistical support to ensure that these donations go to Venezuela.
The United Nations Maritime Agency has paused its evacuation of hundreds of stranded ships from the Strait of Hormuz after Iran's armed forces struck a Singapore-flagged cargo ship near the Omani coast. Iran had warned action would be taken against vessels that did not heed its instructions. It was not immediately clear how the strike would affect the ongoing negotiations between the United States and Iran over control of the strait and over Iran's nuclear program. Mitch McCann has the story from New York.
Another consideration here is regarding how the US may respond, given that oil prices have plummeted, meaning that gas prices here and airfares are likely to come down in the coming weeks. The president will be cautious of the political implications if this war flares up again. So on one hand, he may be infuriated by these reported strikes in the Strait of Hormuz, but on the other, he may be cautious of the implications politically if he strikes back.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, President Trump's American State Fair on Washington's National Mall, a celebration of the country's 250th birthday that has become a political football. It's supposed to showcase each of America's 50 states and 6 territories equally. This is how one of the organisers, Elizabeth Pipko, wants the country to think about the event.
We've been talking about this for quite some time. I like to joke that I myself have been waiting to celebrate America's 250th birthday for the 30 years that I've been alive. If you look at the exhibitions that we have planned, obviously the president speaking, every single state having their own individual pavilion. I can tell you there's a lot of planning, and if people come here and see it for themselves, they'll realize how much heart and soul and blood, sweat and tears unfortunately had to go into making this the most special party I hope that everyone has ever seen.
But a growing number of states are pulling out, including on Thursday, Pennsylvania. Its Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro objecting to President Trump's description of the event as the most spectacular Trump rally of them all. Again, organiser Elizabeth Pipko.
For me, my message to anyone who's unable to be here is just, I'm sorry you're going to miss an incredible birthday, and I would hope that everyone that's thinking about coming does consider it, because one day you're going to ask, where were you on this incredible moment? This is literal history that we're living through, and you're going to want to say that you were here.
Governor Shapiro accused President Trump of making patriotism partisan and personal. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Officials warn of vast devastation as rescuers search for survivors in a rush to save lives. The death toll is rising from powerful twin earthquakes in Venezuela. Iran attacks a cargo vessel in the Strait of Hormuz, forcing the UN to pause a mission to free hundreds of ships stranded in the Gulf. A heatwave in Europe as record temperatures are recorded in France, Spain and Britain. And that's the latest feature story news. Laura Westbrook reporting.
You are listening to a renowned safety expert, Dr. Jay Allen, on Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time. Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
Okay, yeah, that's what happens when you're on the radio for way too long. It definitely sounds like, no doubt about that, as we are talking. Anyways, it is Freeform Friday, as we have previously discussed. So it means we will be talking a little bit about everything today, because that is what goes on as we are hanging. So if you're good with it, I'm good with it, so we can get moving, grooving, and doing all of the other stuff that we get to do, no doubt about that. So let's start talking right away, because some people will care about this stuff. Today is National Coconut Day, in case you did not know that. So yeah, enjoy some coconut today and enjoy the benefits. Also, today is National Chocolate Pudding Day. Enjoy some of the delicious chocolate pudding as a dessert or a snack. And then let's see, what else do we got going on? Why don't we start using some stuff to talk about? You are aware that things are becoming more and more popular as we go through and take a look at some of the stuff that's going on out there inside of the multiverse. So, are you familiar with a massage gun? It's kind of these guns that they actually have now that are very similar to some that you'll see inside of, or I shouldn't say similar, but you'll see them inside of people inside of the gym if you have one of those relaxation zones where they actually have these guns and they kind of apply to your pressure points, blah, blah, different nozzles, all kinds of weird shit. But take a listen to this. A doctor in Scotland are warning people not to use the massage guns anywhere near their eyes after a young man suffered a serious vision problem from doing exactly that. The man in his 20s told the doctor that he'd been using the massage gun on and around his eyeballs for several months because he thought that it would help relieve the eye fatigue. Eventually, he began seeing flashes of lights and floaters. Inside medical treatment, doctors discovered that multiple retinal tears in both eyes, widespread bruising, and serious condition called retinal dialysis, where the retina separates from from the normal attachment. After pulling out other causes, the doctor concluded the massage gun was responsible for the damage. Medical experts believe that the powerful vibrations repeatedly compressed the eyeballs, causing the retina tear. The case is believed to be the first documented instance of retinal dialysis linked to a massage gun. Fortunately, 6 months later, the patient's conditions had stabilized, but doctors say that the case is a reminder that massage guns are designed for muscles, not eyeballs. That's one way to get your eyes vibrating with excitement. I mean, I don't understand that in regards of how you could get that confused in regards to doing some of that stuff. I'm just saying, just something to think about for just a brief moment. Okay, let's talk some more news of the weird. Food influencer Grace Lewis went all out to introduce her parents to her famous In-N-Out experience without leaving New Jersey. She transformed her front yard into nearly an identical drive-thru, complete with a menu board, speaker box, uniform, burger wrappers, trays, and renamed the restaurant to Out and In to avoid trademark issues. Lewis and her sister even made the burgers, buns, cheese, sauces, fries, milkshake from scratch. Her parents drove through, ordered the classic menu items, and were served just like they were in the real restaurant. Her HOA is still trying to figure out their drive-through on Maple Street. So there you go, some stuff to think about. It's so realistic that DoorDash almost picked up an order. So there you go. That's something to think about. And what else do we got? Take a listen to this real quick. A 25-year-old woman says that she was prevented from boarding a flight during a heat wave because the airline staff said that her shorts and crop top were too revealing. She says that she was told that she looked naked and that she was only allowed to board after putting on a jacket and zipping it up. The airline says the specific words don't reflect its standard, but notes that passengers are expected to wear clothing appropriate for public travel, with staff allowed to use discretion. The airline says the boarding by zones and sleeves. So let's talk about that because, here's the thing. Discretion is such an interesting term to use here. That's like when you're at work and you get a discretional based bonus. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to base our bonuses on our discretion. It's like, what the hell does that even mean? So like, if you like me this week, we can do it. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. I guess we should get serious for a few moments. A big change to Social Security is coming to recipients who benefits sent to a debit card. Most of the 70.6 million Americans who get Social Security and supplemental security income benefits, more than 99% get their payments electronically via direct deposit to their checking accounts and a Direct Express prepaid debit cards. Those who get the paper payments should know that Social Security Administration plans to fully transition to electronic payment for all beneficiaries by the end of the year. Those who use the Direct Express debit cards have a change coming too. The Treasury Department is changing the bank that handles recipients' debit cards. Fifth Third Bank is replacing Comerica Bank as the financial agent for the Direct Express card program. So there you go. Some things to talk about as we are hanging. So what do you think? I'm just asking because, I don't know what kind of impact that could have on you. Some things to talk about, so for sure. Let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. A federal judge has temporarily blocked a proposed U.S. Postal Service policy that would have allowed the agency to refuse delivery of mail-in ballots in states that did not provide voter registration information requested by the federal government. The dispute stems from the executive order signed by President Trump in March that directed the federal government to compile voter eligibility information and required the Postal Service to stop mailing ballots to people deemed ineligible to vote. The U.S. District Judge ruled that the Postal Service does not have the constitutional authority or administer elections and has not been granted power by Congress to create rules that could affect those who receive mail-in ballots. Under the proposed policy, the states would have been required to provide voters' name, addresses, and ballot tracking information to the Postal Service. Postmaster General David Steiner told senators that under the proposed rule, ballots could be withheld if states refuse to provide the requested information. So there you go. What do you think? What do you think? I'm just asking. It gets interesting as we are talking, that is for sure, how the mail-in ballot thing would potentially work. It's definitely some interesting times as we are talking, no doubt there. So keep that in mind as we are moving and grooving through all of the elements here, no doubt about that. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world here. A Singapore-flagged cargo ship was damaged after a U.S. official said that it was hit by an Iranian drone while trying to transit through the Strait of Hormuz on Thursday. The ship bridge was damaged, but no injuries were reported. The incident comes out just days after the U.S.-Iran agreement aimed at restoring safe commercial shipping through the vital oil route, raising new concerns about the fragile ceasefire. if Iran had warned the ships against using routes not approved by Tehran. The attack prompted by the UN to temporarily pause its maritime evacuation operation in the region and secured the recess. So there you go. What do you think? What an interesting time when it comes to this stuff. I guess it's, very stable is what it sounds like in regards to the stuff that's going on. I mean, I would have no concerns whatsoever by going down through that section is what it sounds like.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so always a good time as we are talking, as we are doing all of the stuff that we get to do. No doubt about that, because we are definitely hanging out here on this lovely day doing some stuff. So let's continue talking about some other stuff. A federal jury has reached a verdict in the trial of 30-year-old Jonathan Renderkind, who was accused of intentionally starting the January 1st, 2025 Lackman fire that prosecutors say that smoldered underground before erupting into the massive Palisades fire 6 days later. Jonathan faced federal arson charges that could be carried up to 45 years in prison. Prosecutors relied on surveillance videos, cell phone data, and witness testimony and internet searches to argue that he started the blaze, while the defense insisted that there was no physical evidence linking him to the fire and argued the fireworks were the likely cause. The Palisades fire destroyed roughly 6,800 homes, businesses, and other structures, becoming one of California's most costly wildfire disasters. Reports say that the verdict was reached, but does not state whether the jury found Jonathan guilty or not guilty. So I guess we'll have to pay close attention there on exactly what's happening, because it definitely sounds like an interesting time. That is for sure, as we are talking. So there you go. Some interesting stuff definitely going on inside of there as we are talking. So we're going to do this one because we tend to do some stuff from time to time. And I guess we're not going to do any kind of rhyme or reason for this, but we do tend to play this from time to time. So let's do this right now.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. In the 23rd Psalm, David tells us to fear no evil because the shepherd is with us. I take great comfort and knowing the shepherd's rod will protect me from the evil one. Of course, the devil is not the only enemy we face. If the truth be told, we are often our own worst enemy. Philip Keller says, if the shepherd saw a sheep wandering away on its own, or approaching poisonous weeds, or getting too close to danger, the rod would go whistling through the air to send that wayward animal scurrying back to the bunch. Lord Jesus, you are the good shepherd. Use your rod to protect me from every danger, including the dangers I bring on myself. Amen.
If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Yep, Rated R Safety Show. You know how it goes around here as we are talking, doing all of the fun stuff. That is for sure. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do. We talk a little bit about everything that's going on, because it wouldn't make any sense if we didn't do that. So it is Freeform Friday. So I want to make sure that we're abundantly clear about what exactly is going on, because it does get pretty interesting as we start taking a look around about everything that is happening. So let's continue talking about some other stuff that is going on inside of this world, because, man, when I take a look at some of these things, I always look at, when I start compiling everything that's going on how this is going to work. So let me tell you about this one, because we've been talking about celebrating the U.S.'s 250, but the U.S. Mint is releasing 250,000 Special Edition 2026 quarters to celebrate America's 250th birthday. And instead of being sold directly, the limited coins will be randomly mixed into everyday circulation through the banks before Independence Day. The quarters featured the July the 4th privy mark and a dual date of 1776 and 2026, Thomas Jefferson on the front, and the Liberty Bell on the back. The Mint is also updating other coins for the national 250th celebration, giving collectors plenty of reasons to start checking their spare change. So there you go. What do you think? I think it's interesting. Definitely seeing some other stuff that it could potentially happen. No doubt there. Anyways, let's continue talking about some story of the weird here. A Maryland woman is facing multiple charges after police say that she threatened a Taco Bell employee over a delayed food order. Authorities say the 30-year-old Ashley Andrews became angry while waiting for a meal at Taco Bell in Chester, challenged the employees to meet her outside, and then allegedly lifted her shirt and grabbed a handle of a handgun. Investigators reviewed the surveillance video and arrested her on charges including second-degree assault, reckless endangerment, disorderly conduct, and carrying a handgun. She also has been banned from returning to Taco Bell, meaning that she won't have to worry about long waits there ever again. So is it never returning to that Taco Bell, or is it never returning to Taco Bell? So she upgraded her order from supreme to criminal, is definitely what it sounds like. And she confused Taco Bell with the Wild Wild West, is definitely what it sounds like. So take a listen to this one. A romantic beach walk turned into a surprise proposal. 31-year-old man secretly had a giant 50-foot engagement ring carved into the sand at his and his girlfriend's favorite beach. The plan fell apart when the girlfriend didn't want to get out of bed at 6 a.m., but she eventually agreed. Once they reached the beach, she spotted a massive sand artwork with a giant question mark in the middle. He led her to the center and got down on the knee and proposed to her with a real ring. She said yes, and the couple plans to get married in 2028. So hold on. If she didn't want to get out of bed and then you kind of forced her, then asked her to get married, how did that go? Nothing says romance like bringing someone to wake up before sunrise. I guess is one way to look at it. I mean, what do you think? It's just weird. I mean, it's weird to have some of these conversations about how you do the proposal. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I feel about some of this stuff anymore. It's just weird. So let's talk about this one real quick. Olympic skiing great Bode Miller has had the misdemeanor drug possession and paraphernalia charges stemming from his June 6 arrest in Idaho dismissed. Prosecutors said that a new info in a separate active case led them to conclude that it was in the interest of justice to drop the charges. Miller had maintained the drugs weren't his, and his attorney says that the passengers has since accepted responsibility for cannabis pipe and psychedelic mushrooms found during the traffic stop. Miller, a 6-time Olympic medalist who retired in 2017, had pleaded not guilty after posting bond. So there you go. Some things to think about. Anyways, during this section, we would normally do our main story, but it is Freeform Friday. So what does that mean? That means we get some dosages of the news. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Duh.
No, seriously, let's go ahead and do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Hong Kong, I'm Laura Westbrook. At least 235 people have been killed and more than 1,500 injured after twin earthquakes struck Venezuela. Rescuers are searching through rubble in a rush to save lives. Catherine Ellis on the Colombian border says the financial burden of rebuilding will compound the hardship already facing ordinary Venezuelans.
We don't know, we can see the extent of the damage, but we really don't know what that is yet, what that's actually going to cost. But apart from actually rebuilding the country, it's like people's lives as well. People in Venezuela, people worry about putting food on the table, like what they're going to eat. And hospitals, like I was thinking today, the hospitals will be overwhelmed. Normally when people from Venezuela, they go to hospital, they even have to pay for not only the medicine, but even the gloves that the doctors and nurses wear or the alcohol that they use. They have to use every last kind of bit of their money just on these resources. So it's a really worrying situation for all of them.
The United States is deploying search and rescue teams to Venezuela. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed the deployment after speaking directly with Venezuela's acting president, saying collapsed buildings are the most immediate concern and that military assets will be used to get aid in because Caracas airport had been badly damaged. Alistair D'Souza reports from Washington.
Very quickly, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, for example, got on a phone call with Venezuela's interim President Delcy Rodriguez. He says that search and rescue teams are being sent from the U.S., including medical resources. Rubio says that the U.S. is also providing aerial imagery to help to get to survivors, especially now within this crucial 48 to 72 hour period. Rubio also saying that he expects a surge of private donations to come along. He says that the State Department will provide logistical support to ensure that these donations go to Venezuela.
The United Nations Maritime Agency has paused its evacuation of hundreds of stranded ships from the Strait of Hormuz after Iran's armed forces struck a Singapore-flagged cargo ship near the Omani coast. Iran had warned action would be taken against vessels that did not heed its instructions. It was not immediately clear how the strike would affect the ongoing negotiations between the United States and Iran over control of the strait and over Iran's nuclear program. Mitch McCann is the story from New York.
Another consideration here is regarding how the US may respond, given that oil prices have plummeted, meaning that gas prices here and airfares are likely to come down in the coming weeks. The president will be cautious of the political implications if this war flares up again. So on one hand, he may be infuriated by these reported strikes in the Strait of Hormuz, but on the other, he may be cautious of the implications politically if he strikes back.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, President Trump's American State Fair on Washington's National Mall, a celebration of the country's 250th birthday that has become a political football. It's supposed to showcase each of America's 50 states and 6 territories equally. This is how one of the organisers, Elizabeth Pipko, wants the country to think about the event.
We've been talking about this for quite some time. I like to joke that I myself have been waiting to celebrate America's 250th birthday for the 30 years that I've been alive. If you look at the exhibitions that we have planned, obviously the president speaking, every single state having their own individual pavilion. I can tell you there's a lot of planning, and if people come here and see it for themselves, they'll realize how much heart and soul and blood, sweat and tears unfortunately had to go into making this the most special party I hope that everyone has ever seen.
But a growing number of states are pulling out, including on Thursday, Pennsylvania. Its Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro objecting to President Trump's description of the event as the most spectacular Trump rally of them all. Again, organiser Elizabeth Pipko.
For me, my message to anyone who's unable to be here is just, I'm sorry you're going to miss an incredible birthday, and I would hope that everyone that's thinking about coming does consider it, because one day you're going to ask, where were you on this incredible moment? This is literal history that we're living through, and you're going to want to say that you were here.
Governor Shapiro accused President Trump of making patriotism partisan and personal. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Officials warn of vast devastation as rescuers search for survivors in a rush to save lives. The death toll is rising from powerful twin earthquakes in Venezuela. Iran attacks a cargo vessel in the Strait of Hormuz, forcing the UN to pause a mission to free hundreds of ships stranded in the Gulf. A heatwave in Europe as record temperatures are recorded in France, Spain and Britain. And that's the latest feature story news. Laura Westbrook reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Warning, listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth.
I've been running, chasing something real. And I've been stuck here, wasting time for years.
Okay, here we go. 43 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out here, talking a little bit about everything that's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So this one right here is called I Want to Go Home. No, I really do. I Want to Go Home. Artist is called Neighbor. Songs readily available on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Yep, a little bit smoother tones going on here
So much is waiting.
as we are talking.
I've been trying on my own, but the door's always
Yep,
closed.
I want to go home.
I got nothing to show for
A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So let's continue talking. We'd like to thank Neighbor for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that, as we are hanging out on this lovely, lovely, lovely Freeform Friday. Yeah, we have to call it Freeform because, man, we don't know what exactly is going to happen. So many different things happen from time to time as we are talking. So with that being said, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now. Things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging are the options of the things that you get to do as you're hanging out. And then, what? Hold on. My brain just kind of fried there. Audio, video, and text messaging on TWLOHA.com? No, it's not that way. This has got mixed up here, but that's my fault. But what they do have is all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support. That's what we need to be talking about. I'm going to tell you, you go to this website, and if you pay close attention to what's going on, there's just so many different things that are happening there. Like, all joking aside. Might be one of the most crucial things that I'll ever tell you. TWLOHA.com. Go to the far right-hand side and click on the section that says Find Help. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of what we do here. Let's talk about this because it is, let's see. It is Friday. And, let's see. There are some things that happen on Friday if you like to go to the movies. So let's talk about some of the movies that are being released today. Jackass, Best and Last, starring Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, and Chris Pontius, follows the Jackass crew as they perform their final series of dangerous stunts and pranks, making the end of the franchise. Rated R in theaters today. Also, Supergirl, starring Millie Alcock and Eve Ridgely. Kara Zor-El, a.k.a. Supergirl, joins forces with unlikely companion on an interstellar journey on vengeance and justice when an unexpected adversary strikes too close to home. PG-13 in theaters today. Also, 40 Dates and 40 Nights, starring Annie Potts and Joel Courtney. Struggling romantic accepts her aunt's wager of 40 dates and 40 nights to find true love. If she fails, her aunt will cover her rent and student debt. But the journey proves more challenging than expected. So there you go. Hold on. If she fails. Not if she wins. Okay. What else? Let's see. What else? Couture, starring Angelina Jolie, comes out today. An American filmmaker faces challenges of self-discovery as she arrives in Paris for Fashion Week for a life and death journey. Rated R in theaters today. Also, Little Brother, starring John Cena and Eric Andre, a famous real estate agent. Life is disrupted when his eccentric little brother unexpectedly reappears. Rated R streaming today on Netflix. And also, Lucky Strike, starring Scott Eastwood. A wounded American soldier is trapped behind a German lines during a Battle of the Bulge. Rated R in theaters today. So there you go. That's some aspects inside of the movie theater if you want to go take a look at some of that. Let me tell you about this coming up. July the 13th is right around the corner. No joke here. We're having an event here in Orlando on Monday, July the 13th, live at the Aloma Cinema Grill. We're calling it Reality Shifts, an observational symposium. It's going to be in person. There in person with us will be Todd Conklin talking about human and organizational performance. We'll have Nick Weatherly there talking about behavior-based safety. And then I will be there talking about Signal. Would love for you to come and hang out with us, no doubt about that. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io to find out more information. Or if you're on the screen arena, if you scanned that QR code that's right there, it will take you down the loop to find out more information. It is a one-day event. It should be action-packed. We'll have the three of us there talking, and we'll watch a level of a documentary as we are there. No doubt there in regards to some of that stuff. So with that being said, that's what's going on. SafetyFM.io. Why are we doing it on a Monday? That way, if you want to come and hang out in Orlando over the weekend, you have the opportunity of doing so. Some things to think about, no doubt there. Okay, so let's do this real quick, if you do not mind, as we are hanging and banging there, no doubt. So let's do this. Let's talk about this. Let's do this a little crazy here. And let's go ahead and bring in John Small to talk about the Motivation Minute, because it's time to do that.
The Motivation Minute. Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Jacob. Ella Fitzgerald said, "A lot of singers think all they have to do is exercise their tonsils to get ahead. They refuse to look for new ideas and new outlets, so they fall by the wayside." What a quote. Ella Fitzgerald was one of the very best singers of her time and of all time. She was an American improvisational vocal musician, singer, songwriter, and composer, sometimes referred to as the First Lady of Song or the Queen of Jazz or Lady Ella. In the late 1930s and early 1940s, she became a huge star. Her beautiful voice was heard all over the country and beyond. She was a bright star for several decades, and her voice lives on today in some of the best musical works of the last century and of all time. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Growing concern is spreading as a powerful armed group advances toward a major Sudanese city crowded with civilians.
Aid organizations and international officials warned Wednesday that hundreds of thousands of residents could face danger. Emergency planning is increasing while diplomats push for measures to prevent wider violence. Gary Beck reporting.
Several progressive candidates scored notable victories in New York contests, signaling continued energy among left-leaning voters.
Results announced Wednesday showed multiple contenders backed by influential progressive groups winning primary races. Political observers expect the outcomes to affect campaign strategies heading toward the general election. Liam White reporting.
Political tensions are rising in Washington as Republican senators prepare for a high-profile meeting with President Trump.
Wednesday's gathering follows complaints that legislative priorities have been repeatedly disrupted by competing demands. The discussions could shape upcoming votes and influence the party's broader agenda. Kyle Norris reporting.
Fresh diplomatic progress is raising hopes for a broader agreement aimed at reducing tensions and stabilizing a volatile region.
Wednesday, international inspectors prepared visits to Iranian nuclear facilities under terms linked to ongoing negotiations. Further talks are planned, and leaders say verification efforts could help support a longer-lasting settlement. Benjamin Wright reporting.
A major housing package cleared another hurdle, marking an uncommon bipartisan achievement during an increasingly divided political season.
Lawmakers approved the measure Tuesday after negotiations focused on affordability and housing supply. Supporters say the plan could encourage construction and expand options for many communities. Kevin Sanders reporting.
A new round of attacks disrupted critical infrastructure in Crimea, leaving large areas without electricity and disrupting daily life.
Russian-installed officials reported power failures after strikes targeted energy facilities on Wednesday. Repair crews were deployed while authorities assessed damage and worked to restore service. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A rare congressional rebuke gained momentum after lawmakers approved a measure seeking limits on American military involvement with Iran.
The Senate passed the resolution on Tuesday following weeks of debate over the conflict. The proposal now moves forward amid continuing arguments about presidential war powers and oversight. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A relentless heat wave is sweeping across Europe, shattering temperature records and straining schools, transport systems, power networks, and hospitals.
Wednesday brought extreme conditions across several countries as authorities expanded alerts and safety measures.
Officials warned the heat could continue for days, increasing health risks and pressure on public services. Chris Anderson reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, there we go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Freeform Friday. So let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1819, the bicycle was patented by W.K. Clarkson Jr. In 1900, Dr. Walter Reed begins research that beats yellow fever. In 1917, the first American expeditionary force arrives in France during World War I. Let's see. In 1968, Iwo Jima and Bonin Islands returned to Japan by the U.S. What else? In 1989, Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson married for the second time. And in 2025, Anna Wintour announces that she is stepping down from the editor-in-chief of American Vogue after 37 years. So there you go. That's some things that happened back on those dates. Let's talk about some birthdays going on today. Mick Jones turned 71. Chris Isaac turned 70. Patti Smith turned 69 today. Chris O'Donnell turns 56. Nick Offerman, 56 as well. Gretchen Wilson turns 53. Derek Jeter, 52. Let's see, what else we got? Aubrey Plaza turns 42 today, and Ariana Grande, she turns 33. So there you go. There's some birthdays for you if you're kind of trying to figure some of those out. No doubt about that. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know because that's going to be important. Janice Dean is stepping down or stepping away from her longtime role at Fox News, citing physical demands of the job and in her ongoing battle with multiple sclerosis. In a video message, Dean reflected on the 22 years at the network, explaining that in the early mornings, long hours, standing and pressure of live TV have become increasingly difficult. She noted that she's waking up at 2:30 in the morning, day after day, challenging for anyone, but essentially for someone with MS. Dean described multiple sclerosis as a constant internal battle and said that while that she has been fortunate to receive early diagnosis and effective treatment, the conditions remain a daily challenge. She has been undergoing various therapies for more than 2 decades. Dean has been familiar face on Fox and Friends and had one of the network's most recognizable meteorologists. So there you go. Also, in some other news going on, Delta CEO Ed Battison says that travelers hoping for cheaper airfares will likely have to wait until airlines can increase the number of available flights. In an interview, Ed explained that the high ticket prices are being driven more by supply and demand than they are by fuel costs. He said airline industry is currently log-jammed, meaning that isn't simply aren't just enough flights to meet the demand. According to Ed, airfare prices should begin to fall once airlines are able to expand capacity and put more planes in the air. So there you go. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come in and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, unless you're already on Radio Big taking a listen to what the hell we have going on. If you don't want to go over there and you want to hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he's talking about the world of safety consulting, you can stay on Safety FM as he will have those discussions with you. If I can leave you with some words of wisdom for today, you're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountains is waiting, so get your way. So there you go. If you need some words of advice, here you go. Spray a squeaky door hinge in place with a little of all-purpose lube, silicone spray, or dry Teflon spray. If the squeak persists, remove the hinge pins and rub off the rust or corrosion with the steel wood pad and coat the pins with lubricant before replacing them. That will do the trick for you. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.